Hey guys, welcome to our review of Loki Season 2, Episode 2. We're going to dive in and see, does it maintain the momentum? How's it doing? I guess let's jump into first, how's it doing in terms of viewership? Just anecdotally, it kind of seemed, as far as in the YouTube sphere, to be getting less views or less attention, that kind of thing. I'm just curious how it went. So I looked up some of the numbers, and we have Loki Season 2 premiere draws the second highest viewers globally in just 3 days on Disney+. So it drew 10.9 million viewers in 3 days. That's pretty good.
I was going to say, what was that compared to?
Second highest?
Secret Invasion?
I have no idea.
No one watched that.
Why you asking me these
It was a
things?
secret.
Look it up your goddamn self while I continue going. Say Secret Invasion streaming numbers. But so Disney says 10.9 million global viewers in just 3 days. Second place on the service. What was first place? First place was Mandalorian Season 3 premiere, because it still has some of the momentum there. They didn't actually give us a number, so you can't really compare to see how close Marvel got to the Mandalorian. And then as far as Ahsoka, how does it compare to Ahsoka? With that racked up 14 million views in 5 days. So it's probably lagging behind Loki Season 2, but it's still getting good numbers. And there's other numbers floating around. I see a bunch of YouTubers laughing at, numbers for Ahsoka on Samba TV numbers. I don't know what, but it just feels like those numbers are off or inaccurate.
TV, unless the streamer service tells you exactly the number of views, everyone's full of shit. I mean, even...
Yeah, it says here, Samba TV only reports the viewership from their actual smart TV sets. They don't account for mobile devices, Roku, Fire Sticks, consoles, a large number of viewership after the fact on VOD. So it's not really a full picture.
Even the Nielsen ratings are made up, like funny numbers that don't matter. They're like, oh, well, we used to put these boxes in people's houses per 1,000, and then they'd estimate, and they wouldn't count people that have like multiple TVs in the house. It wouldn't count multiple people watching at the same time. They just like multiply a bunch of numbers and go, 60 million people watched MASH. It's like, no, they didn't. Shut up. You should watch MASH, by the way. I know you've never watched it.
It's on my list.
I've always turned MASH off because when I was a young kid, I was like, fuck MASH.
But it's like 60 million people they estimated watched the final thing, and then everyone's like, oh, how'd you get those numbers? And they're like, you will never guess the shitty math we used. Well, 7 people in this house watched it, and 4 people over there, so we multiplied by 15,000. It's like, those numbers don't even work.
Quick math.
It's close to Loki Season 1, where, nobody knew whether the show was going to be good, and then it picked up. So basically, to sum it out, it's off to a good start on this in terms of viewership. But honestly, I don't really care whether something gets a high viewers. It doesn't matter to me. It only matters to me if they continue a story that is not going to be finished being told and needs viewers to do so. Like, for example, Andor. I think Andor is one of the fewer viewed Star Wars series, and I think it's one of the fucking best.
Yes.
So viewership doesn't really matter to me. It's just like how is the content. And the content so far, here we are, Episode 2, Breaking Bad, I believe it's called.
Brad.
No, it's Breaking Bad.
Bad? Okay.
And it's basically... It's another great episode, and I think this is a testament to Tom Hiddleston and fucking, the actors involved here. They're all heavyweights. They all know what they're doing, and they put in good performances. This story is somewhat interesting, and we are basically going on a variant timeline adventure. And we get a little bit of a interrogation with this B5 character. I think this is like the B5 episode. And then as we go along in these next 4 episodes, we'll probably get 1 episode each character. Like, I'm sure a Miss Minutes episode is coming. I'm sure a Renslayer episode is coming. I'm sure a Morbius episode is coming because we've seen, some hints to jet skis and stuff. So I think that's kind of how it's going to work out. And another great episode kind of setting up what's happening here for the rest. What did you guys think?
At first, I didn't know what the hell was going on, but then it started to get back on track.
I think all three of us were like,
Yes.
what just happened? It feels like there's an episode missing when you're like watching it.
Yeah, because like at the end of the first one, it's like, okay, we got to find Sylvie, and then all of a sudden we're like, all right, we got to find Brad. It's like, wait, what just happened?
What?
Why? What?
Yeah.
But other than that, like I still liked it. We got OB back again, so I'm hoping he stays throughout the whole thing.
Yes.
And I love the interrogation whenever Morbius is just like starts the realization is like, holy shit, it's like, well, none of this is real. What's going on? It's like, well, I'd rather not think about that because if it was good, all this other stuff. It's just
Key lime pie scene. Yeah.
I like that scene. It was very good.
I don't like the color of the key lime pie. But
I did. I thid it was very
it's like,
bright.
Very
it is
70s.
very bright, but I liked
70s.
it. It was a good episode. I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I think this was a good episode. I don't think it was great. I know that they're trying to do this whole, let's disarm the viewer and then we'll contextualize what happened later on. It just felt like a failure. It's like I get when people are trying to do that. It didn't feel like it was done well enough where it was jarring. Like I stopped the episode and went back to watch the first one because sometimes we get episodes early or something. It's like, did they fuck up this account? Like what's going on with this thing? And then it's kind of loosely, poorly explained later on. I felt like we missed some important stuff where it's like, hey, we found out that there's this thing happening and some X5 is missing. B5 is missing or whatever his name is.
B5.
X5.
So
B5.
B15 is the girl.
X5.
okay, so he's missing.
Whatever.
Yeah, he's missing, and
Damn,
so
Joe, you got an encyclopedia knowledge on this motherfucker right here.
But
B5.
just the comments.
you look, yeah. But so they look, and then everything gets going, and everything is great. One of the complaints I had about season 1 is Loki is played as a joke, the god of mischief. This is the first time we've seen him use magic in a long time, other than, there was some wacky shit in the first one. And it's like, I'm glad. I like him being a complicated character, and I didn't like how they were shifting him over almost into a good guy. And then like the first season, a couple of the episodes. So this one we get back where he's casually explaining, I threw Tony Stark off a building. It was going through some shit,
Yes.
and almost took over New York, that kind of stuff. So it was
I
nice
was mad at
seeing
my brother. Yeah.
that they're going to write Loki in a way that he can be kind of a good bad guy.
I like where he is right now, the anti-hero. Joe, did you say the character's... What did you say the character's name was?
X5?
X5? No, it's B5. In fact, we're both wrong. It's B15.
Hut hike.
Oh, forget it.
B-15 is the lady.
Yeah.
No, B15 is the lady. Okay, you're right. And so the dude you're saying is X5?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. He's the new guy that this episode
Brad,
centers
right?
around. Yeah, Brad.
Okay.
Are we looking it up?
Yeah, he's pulling it up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad Wolf,
Yeah, what's his designation?
X5.
Hunter X5.
Okay, and so we go, and you're saying that you don't like Loki as the anti-hero. You want him to be the villain again?
I don't like him. I don't think that they were having him as an anti-hero was the problem. I like Loki as the anti-hero. I was thinking...
What do you mean problem? You're saying there's a problem?
Yeah, I think for almost the entire of season 1 and even some of coming into this one, Loki just kind of he's a good guy. And I didn't see enough. It's like the same issue that I had with like Black Adam. It's like, you're telling me he's an anti-hero, but you've never once shown me that he's an anti-hero. So I like that they're dipping back in and reminding the audience. It's like, this is a bad dude. This dude almost took over New York. He can do cool stuff with magic. So I like the direction we're going where he can actually be an anti-hero instead of, I felt like they were treating him like a good guy for a long time. And I don't think he's a good guy.
What would you prefer him to be? A good guy, bad guy?
I think I like the anti-hero role for Loki.
Okay, and you're saying it's doing a good job of that.
Now, this episode, I think they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah, they do some references to the Avengers and what he did. If what did he rip a guy's eye out at some point, something like that?
He
did. He was. Oh, I think even Mobius was like, "It looked like you enjoyed this. It looked like you enjoyed this." This was season 1 stuff. So they even in season 1 they were showing off how he did some atrocities in the past. So they just bring that up again here. And then finally we find Sylvie. Sylvie factors in this whole search for Sylvie. We think we get a little bit of a twist here. You think these militant guys that X5 is a part of and Docs, General Docs, are going to find Sylvie. Well, it seems like they don't care about Sylvie. They care about something different. So we find Sylvie living her best life as a
Cashier at McDonald's.
cashier at McDonald's.
Hey, man, she gets to experience it. It's like, you know what?
Back in 1982,
This is shitty.
Yeah.
look, you can afford some stuff in 1980.
Yeah.
Al Bundy was able to get a 3-bedroom house, and
That's wild. I actually worked as a cashier at McDonald's in my past, Joe. You remember that?
Yes.
And as you know, through the drive-through window, so I know what it's like. But she seems very content with it. Don't know how.
it's her second day.
It's her second.
But at
day.
the same time, it's
get
better
tired
than,
of
hey, work here or continue getting chased and get killed.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
all
mean,
right, yeah.
Yeah, the chasing and killing is over. She's living her life now. She's taken care of. He who remains fucking stabbed him in his chair and killed him, and now is just kind of doing what she wants.
She thinks it's going to be okay.
But of course, we've got the main plot clashing with her here and say you can't just stay here because even this, like, you like this. And he points to McDonald's. And I'm like, no. He's like, no, I don't need at McDonald's. I don't want to work at McDonald's. But she does. If you like this, you got to fight for it because all this is in danger.
yeah, TVA is going to fuck shit up.
And about the same time, we learn Brad kind of lets on that his group is actually just going to destroy all the branches. Not really go after Sylvie, just destroy all the branches.
Well, so she's her branches get nuked, so they don't have to go after her. It's
Yeah,
just like,
it's
we'll
like
just kill.
she's going to be in one of them, so
Yeah,
they're
we'll kill
just
all
going
of
to
them.
fuck everything.
yeah, just get rid of all the branches.
Yeah.
And that's kind of basically the way this particular one goes. And how does it end?
She's sitting on the truck.
Yeah, she basically goes back.
Yeah, she's and just decides that I'm not going to help you. The TVA is bad. Loki kind of, he's like the TVA is the only thing standing, between, and he doesn't kind of explain that there's like the good TVA and then there's the TVA that's about to kill a trillion people or 100 trillion people all at the same time.
Do.
Yeah,
Which they do. And
Yeah.
honestly, the way it was depicted, it kind of looked, at one point they're like 30% pruned, I heard at some point. And then I looked at the thing and it looked like there was 99%.
It looked like it was
How do
going
we go
back to
from 30
normal.
to
Yeah.
99? So I don't know if that's exactly what happened, but at least on screen, it depicted it that we went back to the sacred timeline and there's no fucking branches because they've killed everybody. And the shocked and horrified faces on B-15 and the rest of them try to convey that. But maybe we need a little bit more clarity in episode 3 on exactly how. And clearly it's not all of them because Sylvie went back to the McDonald's one and the McDonald's one is still around. So they just didn't depict it quite.
they said they stopped some number of the bombings when
Yeah,
they
because that's a
invaded.
that
but
lady was like, just destroy what we can
just-
right now.
Yeah, get out of it.
But I am happy with how the series has good pacing because I guess I'm just so used to Star Wars dragging things out. Here in episode 1, he's time shifting, and they fucking resolve it, and they introduce a new badass character, OB, and then they tease at these renegade TVA are gonna go fuck shit up, and in this one there's a climax at the end. Sylvie and Loki team up. They find where they're at. They're kind of at, I don't know, in between universe, and they're going in between all these damn doors, and they're blowing shit up. And they just, all right, let's fight. And so then they have a little bit of a fight. Nobody's gonna stop, the combined force of Loki and Sylvie, unless you're bringing in some villains or something. But it's just a TVA, so they basically stop it and destroy their operation. Though I did notice General Doc's hid behind the desk, so she's still around. It's not like she got phased out or anything. But basically, they stop these mofos, and now we just kind of need to figure out what's next. I think Miss Minutes was actually in charge of the TVA, and Miss Minutes works for He Who
Renslayer,
Remains, and Renslayer works for Miss Minutes is kind of my theory here, but it's going to be interesting to see where is Miss Minutes, how is she factoring in here,
Yeah.
how is He who remains factor, because I'm lost at this point. Basically, I'm trying to catch up.
After this episode, it's like I liked it, but I have like a lot more questions, and hopefully next episode we'll get all that answered.
Episode 3 we'll start to get that. Okay, well, let's get some final verdicts on this particular episode.
Go ahead.
I think that we may be moving too fast. I think this is the least amount of emotional impact and consequence for any TV show where hundreds of billions of people died all at once. It almost felt like that this was the finale, the season finale on Fast Forward. I mean, it's crazy that we aren't talking about a single person from. We're talking about all of these timelines purged all at once. And so it's like, while I think other series have gone really slow, kind of not done anything, it almost felt like this was big stuff. I mean, if we're talking about entire timelines getting completely wiped out, and it was just like, yeah, it's done. And all we got was B-15 saying, those are people. And we didn't get much more than that. So still think it's a good episode. Tom Hiddleston acted his ass off. There were some really, really cool scenes. I'm curious, where I'm kind of where you guys are, where it's like, I want to know how Miss Minutes, it factors in, where Renslayer is, where all these other things are. But I'm not itching to watch the next episode. It's not one of those, I want to know. It's just like, I felt like you just haven't explained things well enough. It feels like we're missing information on the cutting room floor. And we've got 4 more episodes. And so there's not, like, again, it feels like we're kind of rushing through because Disney said you only get 6 episodes and they can only be 40 minutes each. And I don't like being in that spot because when I'm finally getting content that I like, it's like, breathe a little, man. Flesh things out. You got great characters. You got great actors. Let them do those things. Give me an hour each. So I think we're going a little fast, but I liked it. So I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm going to go with an 8. I liked it a little bit better. I love the acting, especially the interrogation scene where Loki's like, hey, every universe you're a loser. It's like, you lose. That's what you do. I was like, damn, man. And it just gets in his head and everything.
You think he was going to fuck him up?
Yeah, and then when Morbius gets mad too, I was like, damn, all right, I like this. This is going pretty well. But I agree. In the first part, it was like kind of like going very too fast. I was like, what's going on here? Kind of catches you up. But I am looking forward to episode 3, finding out what's going on with the Renslayer and Miss Minutes, and also Sylvie, like what she has at the very end, like what does that do? And Obi trying to figure out. It's like, well, I wrote the system's broken. What's gonna happen now?
Yeah, and at this point, it says only he who remains can fix it, but there's also a little loophole. We can get Miss Minutes to fix it as well. So that's why I think they're going after Miss Minutes.
Yeah, I got
what?
Nothing. I gave it a final rating.
Yeah, what is your final rating?
8.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
I was just waiting. Yeah, okay, got it. So 8 out of 10. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think this is an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I agree. And what I was wondering is, after episode 1, I thought that the quality was going to lower because, again, I wasn't convinced by the trailer. I was like skeptical. I don't really care about Miss Minutes and Renslayer. I literally do not care about Renslayer. I don't know where she went. I don't care. I had to go back and look. She walked through a portal. She goes, I'm going to go look for free will. And then she leaves. And I don't give a shit. And same thing with Miss Minutes. I do care about He Who Remains. And I do care about Loki. And I care about Mobius. So when we get those episodes, I think I'm going to be invested. But as far as where the TVA ends up, I don't really care. I like all the decorations. I like all, the universe. And so that's why I'm still on board, because there's great actors, great writing in comparison to some of the other stuff we've been watching. So I'm on board, and I am excited for the next episode. But I do think that we'll be on a downward trend until the end, and then hopefully the end will kind of give us something to chew on for the future. In fact, the last episode of Loki season 2, the finale, is actually going to be the same day, I think, that Marvels comes out. So I don't know if they link together or anything like that. I hope not either. I mean, we're kind of forced to watch that just because we're covering a lot of Marvels. I don't think any of us here are particularly excited about it. And I'm sure it's going to be maimed on the internet and, shouted down. But whatever. We'll see. We'll see whether it's good or not. It's not really looking all that great. But that's what I said about the trailer for this, and so far it's been good. So that's it. 8 out of 10. We are optimistic about the rest of it, but we're wondering exactly how this thing wraps up and whether we're going on this sort of variant timeline adventure where we prune these various timelines and we focus on individual characters along the way. And it's like, I don't really care about some of these, and I care about some, and I do care about others. And so that's how I think it's going to play out. All right, so let's go into the episode breakdown. Episode 2, Breaking Bad. Like I said, it really does feel like there's an episode 1.5 somewhere or too much cut, because we go from X5 and General Doc's having this like mother, what is this holding? I don't understand this. Is he her son or something? We go from that to being like militant to all of a sudden he's just a movie star living his best life, shirking his duties. How did that happen? It looked as if, yes, he did say, well, none of this matters, and she's like, it still matters or something like that. She's like,
yeah, at least shows like the interaction he had with Sylvia, like saying, hey, none of this matters, like, you know what, you're right, or something like
to better get his turncoatness or his shirking of duties, but actually, technically, he didn't shirk his duties. He just, once he learned the plan, he was like, okay, now I'm just going to enjoy this until it blows up. I don't know.
His dealie, I think, was supposed to make it so his timeline didn't blow up, but
he modified his, so maybe nobody can go into his. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like, well, if you have a timeline that's going off the thing, they're going to blow up your timeline anyway. So
it started kind of a little bit confusing, and I don't think they did a good job, conveying that to audiences. It's almost as if like they wanted us to believe like this X5 character's been around forever, and he was in season 1 the whole time. And I'm like, who is this guy? I barely even recognized him. I was trying to figure out, is that the same guy? So I'm trying to make that connection while they're already off, 5 chapters ahead of me, doing whatever. So that's kind of what we felt. Anyways, it is kind of fun. They do the Loki theme in the 70s kind of soundtrack. I like 1977 Hollywood guy where he's what's the name of the movie?
I forgot.
Zaniac. I think it's like Zaniac. And actually, that's like I think it's a comic reference, like some wild Marvel storyline. So they like a little Easter egg for deep Marvel stuff. So he could potentially be Zaniac, because we don't know his name. I mean, Ben Wolf. All right. Yeah, I think Ben Wolf. So he could be like a deep cut Marvel character. But in this particular instance, he's X5, and this is his previous life. So, anyways, we arrest him, bring him in. Good capture scene. Loki uses his magic again. Good to see that he still has powers when he wants to use them.
Because I kind of forgot.
I kind of forgot too. Honestly, I know it's a nitpick, but the green magic that they use in this looks really bad. I don't know why it didn't work. I mean, the shadow stuff and the flying stuff worked, but I don't know, the green, it looks like the CGI budget is a little less, but that can't be the case.
Secret Invasion was expensive.
Everything else looks so good in the episode.
Maybe they're like, hey, we're just going to use this once. Just
go real quick.
Yeah.
Beep. It looked more like key lime pie powers than it did,
I wish I had
Loki
powers.
I was thinking that too.
So they do Brad Wolf interrogation. I like the scene. Joe pointed this out. We do round 1 first, where they prep him. They're like, look, this guy's good. He's an asshole. But I'm like, damn, I didn't know he's that good at assholery, because he fucking outmaneuvers both. Mobius makes him feel like shit and gets under his skin, and then Loki in particular. And honestly, I thought Loki was, good. It serves as a great reminder to the audience. This is who Loki is. At any moment, Loki could be like, I'm just fucking with you all, and I'm going to go back.
Past,
they did that
what you did
in season 1, but it's still effective. And so he's like, where is Docs? What they want to know is where is General Docs and where is Sylvie at this point. And then they have the key lime pie scene. I mean, he really ruffles Mobius, and he's like, exits. He didn't even know where he's walking. The TVA is so interesting because you could just end up in some wacky area.
Following you, it's like, huh?
And
You're ahead of
they
me.
have this key lime pie scene where we get another Avengers reference, where essentially that was just one of Loki's bad days, or when he went off and didn't really have a plan, and he just got super pissed. So it's fun looking at these huge cinematic events in different ways,
Perspectives,
for
yeah,
different
and
perspectives.
at his.
That was fun. So then they go back for round 2, and I like this. They, he's upside down looking. What are they bringing in? They're wheeling in this little machine, or what is the fuck is this? And it seemed like they set up a plan ahead of time. Good cop, bad cop kind of thing, or we're actually bad cop is what they were going to do. But Loki takes it bad cop, even worse cop, because then, he locks out Mobius and really scares X5 into thinking that he's going to crush him with, I don't know, a gelatinous cube generator. What is this? I guess it's the same time portal, look, but it doesn't actually go anywhere. It just contains you. We see it on a poster at some point. So in doing that, he's like, I don't know how this machine works. He's like, don't do that. So I liked it. It was convincing. Of course, the acting helps. The actors help, and he basically gives up. Sylvie is, at McDonald's.
Yeah, you can see Loki really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And it got me. I thought that the plan was these two are going to come in the machine and they're going to do good cop, bad cop. And Loki did, in fact, lock Mobius out. But when Mobius comes back in, you see it was all a part of the overall plan. So he even got me. Because at one point, X goes, oh, it's crazy, man. Let me out of here. And he's like, I can't open the door. So. Anyway, so then they go and they find Sylvie working at McDonald's. And we get a bittersweet reunion between these two because, Sylvie manipulated him. If I remember right, she kissed him and then
kicked him through the
Yeah, so he was distracted long enough so she could kick him and kill He Who Remains, or at least that version of He Who Remains. So he's like, hi. And she's like, hi. And he makes his impassioned speech to get her ass back in gear. It works. They get her ass back in gear as they explain things to her, but at the same time, Mobius is eaten with X5, and gets him a shake and stuff.
You slap
This
me.
is some good stuff.
I like that scene too, man. It just people sitting and talking, and it's fascinating. And I think it's because it's just these are good writers, good directors, good performers, and and he basically Brad lets on that there's. Mobius is concerned that this is a double trap, or this is some kind of trap. Something else is going on.
Yeah, because he's very anxious.
And
He's
it
like,
was.
we gotta go.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Go?
He was hiding the worst genocide in the history of genocides in all timelines.
There it is.
Yep.
Hundreds of trillions of people, because it's not just Earth.
And that's what
It's a timeline.
Alex was saying, is that he wanted to see more of an emotional impact or make this bigger than it is, because if we think about it, this is the greatest loss of life
In any
ever
we're talking about
in Marvel.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not, we're talking even
We
more
don't
than
know
that.
how many, but yeah,
It's a fucking lot. Well, we
obviously
saw
fucking
how
lot.
hairy the
Now the
timeline
snap
got.
snapped, half of people out of existence, but that's just
one.
one timeline,
Yeah.
Joe. I think, right?
That's just in one timeline.
But I
So
don't
maybe
think Disney
multiple
would do
timelines.
all right, different places, and you see that
Sure, that would
Terminator
be-
scene.
Oh, yeah.
God, everywhere.
I know
That would be cool.
so
That would be so
expensive
cool,
to try
but
to
Disney
show
would not
all of
do
the
that,
destruction.
yeah. That's
So
what-
instead, they try to self-contain it into those are people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
you get the gist, but
But so then going back and thinking about the scene with Brad, and he's sitting there being nervous, and he's like, "So is this a trap?" It's like that is also something that, that's more compelling when Loki's talking to Sylvie. She's saying you have to come back because we're talking about this many people, this many timelines. It's not just about you and me. And instead, it's I don't know what's gonna happen. I saw you in the future once, and she's like, "What motivation do I have? None." Because
Yeah.
she just goes to lie on a truck at night and to.
I would have told her, well, it doesn't matter whether you want to do it or not. I saw it, so you're going to do it. Yeah, let's go.
It's gonna happen.
That's what my argument would be.
Yeah.
But anyways, he does convince her, and then obviously we get the scene where billions, trillions
They try
are
to stop.
dying.
Yeah.
They try to stop them, but they're already going. And, in between taking these bombs. And I guess it's just one bomb per timeline or whatever.
There's some event at some point in the timeline that can just end the whole timeline.
That's right. That was in the last season, yeah. So so then they do their best to stop them, and they do stop them, But if you listen to the audio cues, they're at 30% pruned, and then the next moment they're at. If you look at the screen, it looks like
Maybe
99%
30% and
pruned.
counting.
Yeah,
What
it
has
counted.
happened?
The number was going up really
Jumped
quick.
ahead again because either these episodes are truncated or we got no time. We only have 6 episodes. Let's go.
It's just like,
Didn't this feel like a
Jesus.
finale
It-
though?
It did. It's
Like-
like everyone's
Well, that's what
fucking
I'm
dead. It's like,
saying.
damn.
I kind of like that it seems like each episode has its own little
The
arc,
arc.
its own little finale,
Yeah.
and it's done. So I'm wondering, is that going to continue? But as its own finale, it's too, and that's where you're picking up on. It's a little too rushed.
20 minutes.
We just saw the destruction of all the universes,
Yeah.
and it's
And
gone.
that's their major complaints with all these Disney ones.
This is
Like,
too
make
short.
it longer. Just make it.
I think we're starting to run into some meta here that maybe Marvel and maybe even Star Wars, like Ahsoka, doesn't really belong on television. Or maybe these should be TV. Maybe these should be movie events, not TV events. And in some ways, the restrictions are doing it a disservice. Either everybody has to watch 24 episodes of Loki season 2, or you watch one. It's a difficult problem to have.
But Joe, it works in the comics because sometimes in comics there's galaxy-ending events and they resolve it in 2 pages. Well, the
That's
problem
why,
is
yeah.
this is a different medium, and now everything
Sure.
that works in comics works on
Sure.
television.
But actually, I like that explanation because that's how I rationalized it. So and how I moved forward, and it didn't bother me so much because if we're going to be telling these comic book storylines, and as we can tell lots of new ones and different ones, a lot of times, a lot of deaths are going to happen, and we just move on. Like it's told in 2 pages and stuff. So it does mimic comics in that way. And so as long as, we're getting a lot of them and they're done well, it doesn't matter that not a lot of time was put to it.
Yeah. The only thing that I'll add on the
There's
last time
one
I'll
arc.
mention is this is the most catastrophic ending of any comic thing that I have ever heard of, and I want people in the comments to be like, no, in this comic, everyone in all timelines died or something. But what? Is there another loss of life anywhere near this that they just resolved in 1 page in a comic? Because they're like, oh no, everyone died. It's fine. So it's not fine.
Because,
It's fine.
we go, it's like, oh, what's the greatest threat? And people are going to be like, oh, the Eternals and this and that. And me and Alex are going to be like, Loki season 2, episode 2.
Episode 2, the TVA
Shit,
killer.
Episode
there-
2, the last 10 minutes.
20
Yeah.
bran-
Yeah,
like,
multiple-
branches. Just
10 to the
timelines
30th power.
Dead.
Interesting.
In
Very,
minutes.
very interesting.
In minutes.
Yeah.
All right, guys, what do y'all think? Leave it in the comments down below. We'll check out episode 3, see how
Looking
things are
forward to
going.
it.
Looking forward to it, and we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.